Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal in the evening kickoff tonight. Look, Forest are 17th in the league. It's a game that Arsenal absolutely should be winning and dominating and winning fairly comfortably, but obviously we know it doesn't always work like that. I think Forest in some ways are kind of lucky that there's a couple of other teams that are far worse than them in the league this season. Look, it could be a bit of a banana skin, but at the same time I do expect Arsenal to come out with a win. They do have, some quality when you think of players like Callum Hudson-Odoi, Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White. They do have quality in the side and they could cause us some problems, but they're not in very good form. They've lost at home recently to Everton. Man City went there and won, and we need to be going and doing the same. I think in terms of the Arsenal lineup, it's really interesting because obviously there's so many games, and Arteta's, I think this is one that he might look at and be tempted to rotate a bit, especially with Inter in midweek, and I think that's a game that he will take seriously because we lost there at the San Siro last season in the Champions League league phase. I think he'll be desperate to go there and get a result and keep up that 100% record in the Champions League. So there could be some rotation today. I mean, look, he'll go with Raya in goal. I think he'll stick with Ben White at right back because he had a really good game against Chelsea. He's sort of coming back into fitness and he looked very good. So I think that's a solid pick at right back. Obviously Saliba, Gabriel as your centre-back pairing, and then I think he's got a decision to make because kind of feels like Timber could do with the rest, but at the same time he doesn't really seem to be trusting Miles Lewis-Skelly at left-back at the moment, and Lewis-Skelly's been starting the Champions League game, so whether he starts at Inter away is another matter. So that's going to be a decision that he has to make. Midfield, as you'd expect, Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard. I think he'll start Saka. Again, I think he'd be tempted to bring in Madueke. Madueke's looked really dangerous in sort of the minutes that he's had in the games that he has played in or come in as a sub. I think he'll go with Gyökeres again as your striker, but again he could be tempted to play someone like Jesus. I think when you look at centre-backs like Murillo, Jesus could cause some big problems, dropping in deep and just being that kind of more a false nine type of striker. Maybe save Gyökeres for the San Siro, where it feels like that game might be one where we're not going to have as much of the ball as we're used to, and it's going to require a lot of kind of off the ball runs and sort of a selfless centre forward job in midweek. And then on the left, I think he'll go with Trossard. I think Trossard's the guy for Premier League games this season, and Martinelli seems to be the Champions League choice on that left-hand side. So I think he'll go with Leandro Trossard. And as I say, look, it could be a tricky game. I think Arsenal need to do everything to make sure it's not a tricky game, and a nice fast start would be really good. Get a lead and hopefully just dominate the game from there. I do think Forest are going to have their moments in the match because, like I say, they have got quality, but I think Arsenal will come out with 3 points again, and I reckon it'll be 2-0. Come on, you Gunners.